Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerry Marmen. I'm actually uh, my full-time profession or job is a lecturer. So other jobs or other position is my additional job. So my presence here is not as representing the uh, s- special staff of the President of the Republic Indonesia, but it's my personal uh, presence here is representing myself as a lecturer. I will read my uh, presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom aleihim Yesua Hamaisya. Om Swastu. Namo Buddhaya. Salam kebajikan. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. On this auspicious occasion, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude for the presence of esteemed leader from banking, financial services, and insurance, or BFSI. This event theme, Transforming Tomorrow, Embracing Digital Revolution in Indonesia, in my opinion, is very important. But when I read this theme, so there is a kind of thinking in myself, why transforming tomorrow? Why not today? Because digital transformation is already happening now. So maybe although the title is transforming tomorrow, but in our thinking, in our uh, concern, we have to transform starting from now. As we all know, Indonesia has made significant progress over the past decade despite the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic. This period has not hindered us but rather spurred innovative breakthroughs, enhancing growth in the sectors of banking, financial, and insurance, and highlighting areas for improvement now and in the future. We have a relaxation program organized and promoted by OJK. As we know that we have a lot of uh, non-performing loan in banking sectors. So if we total all the restructuring program is almost maybe 500 trillions rupiah. It's very significant for our financial sector. But by the policies of OJK doing relaxation program, we now can solve the problem step by step, and our financial system is getting better, and then we can claim that we have already uh, finished the crisis, and we are preparing for future improvement in our financial system. Furthermore, the smooth transition of leadership from Mr. Jokowi to the upcoming administration of Mr. Prabowo Subianto will ensure stability across all sectors. And this stability is very important for our progress. I'm confident that the future of potential BFI sector will be even brighter. As we approach the middle of 2024, Indonesia's national economic condition continue to strengthen. And we can see from a notable economic growth rate of 5.11 year on year in the first quarter of 2024. And this surpassing the rate of growth 5.04 in both the first quarter of 2023 and the fourth quarter of 2023. You can see from this. But actually, as an economist, my consideration, maybe if we can get 6%, this is very ideal. If we want to maintain the momentum of economic growth of Indonesia, 6%, although it is very ambitious, but as an economist, I guarantee if we can get 6%, maybe our economics will grow better than that we have achieved before. This economic growth is actually driven by increased domestic demand. So the domestic demand is important. And then as one of the part in the government officer, my thinking is we have to focus on the strength of domestic economics. Although not promoting autarky, political economy, or anti-import or anti-international trade, but strengthening domestic economy is the key in the global situation that we face currently. So household consumption grew by 4.90% year on year, boosted by the 2024 election and national holidays and collective leaves. We have a lot of collective leaves in Indonesia. Last week we just have 3 days collective leaves, and this strengthen our domestic consumption. Consumption by non-profit institutions serving household surged by 29% year on year due to the activities related to 2024 election and Ramadan also. We can see from this, government consumption also rose by 90% year on year, reflecting increased spending on goods and personnel, particularly by 2024 election. Investment growth of 3.79% year on year was primarily supported by ongoing infrastructure development. You know that our president very keen in promoting the development of infrastructure, because this is actually the role of the government to provide infrastructure for the business to optimize this infrastructure for increasing business activity. However, this is also not good fact, but we can give explanation about this. Export growth slowed by 0.5% year on year. This is due to the declining commodity price actually, and despite and also because of the global tension that influence the supply chain system in the industry, and it influenced our factory, because I heard from Astra and Honda, they cannot produce motorcycle because of the supply chain system uh, had a problem before because of the conflict in Ukraine. The positive economic trends are also evident across various business sectors and regions. In the first quarter of 2024, almost all businesses showed strong performance, particularly those related to mobility, such as transportation and warehousing, accommodation, food service, and wholesale and retail trade. And then we know that the price of airline tickets now uh, very expensive compared to before COVID-19. If, for example, I go to Surabaya, the ticket is almost 2 million now. But before, we can get a ticket from Jakarta to Surabaya only like 700 or 800,000. So it's really significant. This is, in one side is negative, but in other side can be also considered positive. But as long as there is no monopoly in the industry, I think this is good because of the supply and demand. But if there is monopoly phenomena, this is not good in our economics. The manufacturing sector, as the main contributor to growth, also performed well, driven by sustained domestic global demand. Regionally, economic growth in most parts of Indonesia exceeded that of the previous quarter, with the highest growth recorded in Sulawesi, Maluku, Papua, followed by Kalimantan, Bali, Nusa Tenggara, Java, and Sumatra. So from this, we can see that the distribution of development is better, because we have to avoid the phenomena of center and very or disparities in economic development in Indonesia. So the idea of IKN also one of the strategy to distribute the development not centered in Java, especially in Jakarta, because according to our philosophy, the development must be distributed to all Indonesian areas and region. The government is committed to accelerating inclusive and sustainable economic growth as outlined in 2025 Government Work Plan or Rencana Kerja Pembangunan. This plan marks the beginning of 2025-2029 National Medium Terms Development Plan, which is integral to the 2025 and 2045 National Long-Term Development or RPJMN, towards as a golden Indonesia. We know that Indonesia has a kind of dream, Indonesia Emas or Golden Indonesia. That's starting from 1945 to 2045, so it's 100 years. We learn from the history. We learn from Japan. Since the Meiji Restoration, they spend 100 years to develop Japan to be developed countries. And then if we learn also from Western countries, United States, they started their revolution by George Washington and needs 150 years. French Revolution, 150 years also, starting from liberty, equality, and fraternity. But failed country like Latin America, they started also in the same period like United States, 150 years. Simon Bolivar in Bolivia, but failed. So we don't want to be failed like this country. So 100 years is very ambitious target actually. Only Japan and Korea is another different phenomena because of supported fully by United States because of North Korea tension there. So Indonesia with 100 years, the dream to be a golden Indonesia, although this is very ambitious, I think, we think we can achieve it as long as we can transform all the business sector to be more modern and then to be more digitalized and to be more productive. The government is committed to accelerating inclusive and sustainable economic growth as outlined in the 2025, like I mentioned before. The government targets an economic growth of 5.3 to 5.6%. This is very realistic, but according to my thinking, actually we need 6%. We want to maintain the momentum of economic growth, and we want to sustain, because we don't know in the future the conflict in the Middle East and the conflict in also Ukraine can escalate it and then influence negatively to our economics. 5.3 to 5.6% aims to reduce poverty rate to 6 to 7%, and 6 to lower the open unemployment to 4.5 to 5%. So the 2025 state budget will focus on enhancing community welfare and promoting more balanced regional growth. So we know that the new elected president has and vice president has makan siang gratis, freelance. This is actually very good if we can manage it, also manage the risk. It can, support local small and medium business, catering business in providing the food. This is very unique because if we provide foods for all areas in Indonesia, it cannot be concentrated in one conglomerates or oligarchy, because food must be fresh in this case. So food must be produced in that region. So this is only can be fulfilled if, we develop, we support small and medium catering business in many areas. So this is very important. This can, increase the opportunity for small and medium business to have opportunity to be suppliers for this food. So risk management and governance for this program is very important. And then it can also, beside increasing the quality of human resources of young generation in Indonesia, it can also, promote local business in many areas. Economic growth is intrinsically linked to technological advancement as our theme today, which also bring risks that must be anticipated. So what is actually digitalization? Sometimes we consider that digitalization is technology. In my opinion, digitalization is not as simple. Digitalization is not the technology itself. So digitalization is the mindset, the culture. So what is technology? Technology is actually the extension of human faculties, the extension of human organ. So the most important thing is not the technology itself, like my glasses. This is my technology. Because of this, I can extend the ability of my eyes. So the most important is not the glasses itself, but what things that I want to read. So what's the purpose of my eyes? Something like that. So my shoes is also technology. Without these shoes, I can only walk maybe 5 kilometers. But with these shoes, I can walk more than 5 kilometers. So the most important thing to wear I want to walk. So the essence of technology and digital transformation is technology is not in the technology itself, but in the mindset, in the purpose, and in the vision, and in the vision, in what aspect this technology will be used. So after the mindset, we create the culture, human resources as the essence of the process of transforming Indonesia in digitalization. So human resources, the talent itself, that's the center of transforming today by embracing digital IT. So the global risk report in 2024 highlights concerns identified by the global perception, including cybersecurity. So the problem in cybersecurity is also the human itself, the mindset, not only the technology, because from the survey, most event or incidents in cybersecurity is not because of the technology, but the people. The case of BSI, Bank Syariah, that's not because of the core system of the bank is weak, but because of actually the core system of the banking is good. But in order to connect to the core system, they use Windows laptop. But the problem, they forget to renew the license of the firewall of the Windows. So this is because of the legal department consider that this is the responsibility of IT person, and the IT person consider extending the contract of firewall is the responsibility of the legal of the pengadaan or the procurement. So there is no coordination. There is a silos among them. So finally they forget, and then the hackers come easily enter the system from the Windows itself. So the core system actually open because they are connected with the Windows. So it's like our house. We have a very good alarms security system, but our pembantu, our assistants, many times from the back door, go to the market and they open, and the Gojek look at that door, and then finally they can enter the house. Although the house already equipped with very modern security system. So the mindset actually the key for the cyber security prevention. And then after that, the business process, and then after that, the technology. So technology follows the business process, and business process follows the mindset of the people. So we must prepare for the quantum economy and consider space technology, such as satellite and space travel. Also offers solution to humanitarian issues like health and biotechnology. In the BFSI sector, we must leverage artificial intelligence responsibly, manage associated risk, and adhere to regulation to ensure a prosperous future for Indonesia. This is artificial intelligence is very, very promising in one side, and also if we cannot manage it, it's like driving a very wild horse. I worked for artificial intelligence in 2003 in Australia, and then my specialization is stress modeling, and then we survey more than 1 million. Stress. My model is stress related to works. My other friends stress because of maybe broken heart, and the other stress maybe because not having a good income or job. So we input this data to the machine learning. So this machine can identify whether you are stressed or not. Because other team work for, image, other team work for motions, and then we combine all this information to the machine. And then just 1 hour ago, I made a song in 2 minutes, and very good song using artificial intelligence. If you want to hear, I can uh, play the song that I create using a very, very good song by using artificial intelligence, less than 2 minutes. And this is very surprising and very, of course, inspiring for us if we want to optimize this artificial intelligence for supporting our business. As long as we have already have a good mindset for optimizing this powerful technology. By finally, in conclusion, at BFSI, we discuss in this forum, we will discuss not only business and risk, but also technology. And I add not only risk, but also governance and compliance. And then we are now entering for preparing net zero emission in 2060. Maybe we can also add environmental and social and governance. So environmental, social, governance, risk, and compliance combined with the technology, it can be very ideal for us for preparing our progress now and in the future. This event provides an opportunity to broaden our perspectives and enhance our enthusiasm for progress. The financial sector's financial support is crucial for Indonesia's development, and we must remain attuned to global movements and risk. Finally, by praying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, with the grace of God Almighty, I officially open this event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. May your day be filled with great success and happiness.